Part 26. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 252. Chapter 252, Do It Yourself. Girl, how could you think that you would start a factory just after you opened the store? Is the factory so easy to run? Aunt Mei Lian had a big head. Happy Chinese New Year was ruined by this terrible girl. Mom, it's not that I think about it, but it's very necessary. I have discussed this matter with Dazu. If he doesn't go to work, he will come back and help me open the factory together. She thinks this is very feasible. She has been out to places in Guangzhou and Shenzhen and has seen the prosperity there. As long as she can make clothes that people can appreciate, she is not afraid that the clothes will not be sold. This idea is a bit dangerous, but it is better than holding on to that dead salary. Now, one day's income in my store is higher than Dazu's 1 month's salary in the factory. Her mother-in-law no longer goes to work and helps her take care of the children at home. She has plenty of time to do things and earn money. Having a way to go, she is not willing to stay. Mom, I agree with this. I sold my job before the Chinese New Year. Now I can still make a little money by selling my job. Hearing what her son-in-law said, Aunt Mei Lian knew that this girl was coming back to inform her. Look at your good daughter, she is more troublesome than your son. Aunt Mei Lian complained to her man. He Jiankei is hugging his grandson. If your children are motivated, just let them do it. The worst thing is to give them a warm home after they fail. He has little future, but he does not hinder the future of his children. We are all old, and the world now belongs to their young people. Times are changing. Are you really safe to let them go? Aunt Mei Lian asked unwillingly. Otherwise, how can you make them regret it? I haven't seen Dazu quit his job. He finally understood that this daughter was very arrogant. Afraid that his in-laws might feel upset, He Jiankei said to his in-laws again, the children are causing mischief, and you will be worried. Wang Dazu's parents also care about their children. As my parents say, it's better for children to be enterprising than to just wait to die. Now every day outside is the same. I support their ideas. The Queen Mother also nodded. No, I will take care of the children at home right now so that Lixia can be free to take care of business matters. We can't help with these matters. In the Wang family, only Wang's father is still working in the factory, but everyone else has really lost their income. Alas, you guys. After this matter was settled, the whole family celebrated the New Year happily. Mom, when are we going to pay New Year greetings to third grandma? After Lixia finished explaining the matter, she was thinking about going to third grandma's house to pay New Year greetings. It's not urgent. I'll go with Anshan and Anwen tomorrow. Don't go today. The second day of the Lunar New Year is the day when my daughter returns home. That's it, I'll prepare the gifts, and we'll go there early tomorrow morning, Lixia said very positively. Okay, let's go. Remember to prepare red envelopes for Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng. My in-laws, you guys will go there together tomorrow. Third aunt is a bit harsh on her words, but she is kind-hearted. Our family is in such a great state thanks to third aunt. Aunt Mei Lian explained to her in-laws. I know this. The incident in Lixia's shop was the idea of Xiaoxiu. I also prepared a New Year's gift for her this time. I really need to thank her very much. The Wang family is also reasonable. Haha, no, Xiaoxiu can do it, let me tell you. When talking about Xiaoxiu, Lixia felt that she had picked it up. Wang Dazu chatted with his father-in-law. At almost noon, a large group of children came over and rushed in to pay New Year greetings. Mei Shui didn't react for a moment, but Grandma Mu pushed her and said, "Congratulations on getting rich." I took out a plate from the main room. It contained some food and snacks that had been prepared for the children to celebrate the New Year. Mei Shui reacted immediately after seeing Grandma Mu's actions. Happy New Year to you all. Don't mention it, it's really a different experience to have so many children come to celebrate the New Year together. One large plate was not enough, so Mei Shui was so happy that she went to put another plate out and did not stop until all the children were finished. Watching a dozen children happily running to the next house, Mei Shui felt the urge to follow them. Fortunately, she still had her sense and didn't do such a shameful thing. Life in the village is really getting better and better, Mei Shui sighed. Grandma Mu smiled but said nothing. Eating dumplings on the first day of the first lunar month, depending on how many people are involved, there are at least 1 or 2,000 dumplings in the family. Dumplings are eaten at noon and dumplings are also eaten in the evening. Fortunately, the dumplings are delicious, otherwise the old man would have rebelled. The first day of the first lunar month passed like this. At night, Mei Shui and Hians lay on the bed and began to discuss this year's plans. After the yard in the back mountain is repaired, I plan to renovate the old house. After Mei Shui put the child to sleep, she and Hians started to spend time together. I don't have any objection, but I can't get the money. She knew where he was. Mei Shui was happy. No, I haven't used the old man's money yet. It's more than 40,000, and grandma is not happy to count it now. Mei Shui thought about her grandma's face when she returned the money to her. Your family used to be poor, and grandma always planned carefully. She had never seen so much money, so she loved to count it. Now that she has seen a lot of money, she is still interested. Hians was helpless. Mei Shui counted the money to her grandma every time she received money. The old lady was now less and less interested in money. Mei Shui nodded. Yes, it bothers me to count like this every day. Okay, let me tell you about this, and I don't want to go out to buy the furniture in the back mountain. Some things are not very good after they are bought. Nice. Having seen newer furniture that is better looking, more sophisticated, and more practical, she really doesn't like the old-fashioned furniture now. Especially the mirror mounted on the wardrobe, which really frightened her at night. She wanted to make a sliding door, which was easy to use but a little troublesome. There seemed to be no such thing as pulleys in this era. But there's always a way, right? How can I make it myself without buying it? With so many rooms, I don't even know when it will be finished. Hians felt that it was not feasible. But the one I bought doesn't look good. Mei Shui felt repelled. You really want to do it yourself? Hians was shocked. It will be next year until you finish it. There must be at least 11 or 12 houses over there, and after doing this. Hearing this, Mei Shui became even more angry at Mr. Zhang. Who knew he would build the yard over there so big? What else could the old men say about entering the yard? I go. What should I do? Mei Shui really wanted to renovate the old house as soon as possible, whether it was for herself or for Grandma Mu and the others. What furniture are you dissatisfied with? Hians felt that some things were not as well made as the ones he bought. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 253. Chapter 253, Mr. Zhao showing off. Mei Shui told Hians her thoughts. There were a lot of things including wardrobes, dressing tables, TV cabinets, etc. Hians understood. She didn't like anything else except the bed. Looking around at their room, it is true that it is not very coordinated, especially after using it for a long time. The inconvenience becomes more and more obvious. Then buy a bed, it will just give the old men a place to sleep. Hians exu. He was afraid that the old men would get angry. Well, I think so too. As for the bed, I also want to buy only the old-fashioned wooden bed. You can help me check it out in the county if there are any. Buy some for me. After getting his agreement, Mei Shui left. The night is still very long. It's okay to buy it for you, but do you have to thank me? The young couple were already close to each other, and with 2 more children sleeping here, half of the bed was occupied. The only place where the 2 of them could move around was the other half of the bed. As soon as he said this, Mei Shui gave him a roll of her eyes. Aren't you tired every day? You're not afraid either. Mei Shui was unable to say the next words, and was blocked by Hians. Don't be afraid, as long as your pills are here, I won't be weak for days and nights. Facts have proved that it is not a good thing for women to overcompensate men. Mei Shui reaped the fruits of what she had sown. Early the next morning, the family ate in the yard after breakfast. The old men were also waiting for their children and grandchildren to see if they were free to come and pay them New Year greetings. Mr. Shi is also waiting for his grandson. His grandson only arrived in the town before the Chinese New Year and has not been able to come and take a look until now. Mr. Zhao is also waiting for his children and grandchildren to come over. He understands that they are busy before the New Year, but he will not be happy if they don't come during the first month. As for Shi Weiken at Mr. Shi's house, it's not that he didn't come, but that he couldn't find him. He was waiting to join Uncle Zhao and the others. But Uncle Zhao's family had some troubles, and everyone had to wait for them to come back from their parents' home. If he hadn't been unable to find them, and there was no one around him, he would have run away long ago. I also made up my mind to follow my grandpa this time and not go anywhere. It is very inconvenient to live in other people's homes. On the third day of the Lunar New Year, He Zhensi, He Zhenkei, He Zhengting, He Zhennan, and He Zhenbei all had breakfast and came to visit with their things to pay New Year greetings. Fortunately, they didn't meet up together, otherwise such a large group of people would have to wait for a while to get in. Like Aunt Mei Lian, they did not treat themselves as outsiders when they arrived at Mei Shui's house. After asking Mei Shui what she wanted to deal with, she started directly. When there are more people, the family becomes noisy. The voices were rising and falling, and when Mei Shui was asked by Aunt Mei Lian and the others, she walked directly to the back of the house. The front was really not suitable for her. Anwen and the others took He-Ans to chat with them. En Liang and the others took An Chang, Xiao Yu, and He Wei and ran directly to the mountain. He Anyang may be the most mature among them, he just takes care of Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng at home. Have to be busy with lunch, and have to prepare dinner. Looking at so many ingredients on the ground, Mei Shui's heart bleeds. Arrange the matter under the guise of laughter. The old men have been taking pills recently, and they are all in better spirits than the young people, and they are all clamoring to get hooked. At this time, no one could spare their attention to care about them. Everyone made a fuss. Fortunately, because of Xiaobai's presence in the back mountain, none of the large animals dared to appear. Only those small game can satisfy the interest of the old men. In the town, Uncle Zhao's family and Shi Weiken are also preparing to set off from the town and go to Hejia village to pay New Year's greetings to the old men. Of course, they also have to pay New Year's greetings to Aunt He's family and Mei Shui. If Mei Shui knew that many people would come to the house, she would definitely not leave any of them at home for dinner. So much food, so much meat, her heart ached. The Zhao family didn't catch up at noon. It was already past 2 in the afternoon when we entered the village, and it was only an hour or two before dinner. Persevere until you can endure it. Mei Shui has recognized everyone in the Zhao family this time. Of course, not everyone from the Zhao family came, but their sons and grandsons came. After all, the family was doing business, so someone had to stay in the hotel to keep an eye on them. There were Boss Zhao and Aunt Jian, as well as Qian'ans and Zhao Kaij. Zhao Kaij took his father's surname and was the eldest in the family. He is rarely at home on weekdays. This time he took leave from the army because of the Chinese New Year. The most important thing is to come back to see his family and spend time with his wife and children. He has been in the army for a long time, and even his daughter is 3 years old, and he has only seen her twice. Just thinking about it, I feel like I owe my family a lot. Not to mention his wife, who not only has to take care of the children, but also helps him take care of his parents. And Jianxiang also brought his son over. Several cars came to the village at once, which surprised the villagers. They have seen the kind of trucks that usually pull goods many times, and there is nothing new about them. This is the first time they have seen this kind of off-road vehicle. How can we not make them novel? Grandpa, We are here to wish you a happy new year. Under the leadership of Zhao Kaij, the descendants of the Zhao family knelt forward and kowtowed to the old man. Looking at such a scene, all the old men felt envious. Uncle Shi is really envious, because his grandson is here, but he has no great-grandson. It seems that Wei Chen will have a daughter-in-law. Fortunately, Shi Weikan didn't know what his grandfather was thinking, otherwise he might not be able to live in Hejiakan. Okay, get up quickly, and go and pay New Year's greetings to the other grandpas. Mr. Zhao's pretense was perfect. Uncle Zhao knew his father very well. When he heard what he said, he turned around and walked out of the He family's main room. Grandma, he looked disgusted and said, "What are you showing off? You're talking like someone else's family doesn't have grandchildren, and you're still kneeling down, thinking it's your own family. Grandma, he is so stupid. Don't you see that the kids are feeling a little uncomfortable? Aren't the red envelopes ready?" "I'm done." After saying that, Grandma, he took out the red envelope from her arms. It's not that she is stingy, it's that the red envelopes that can give out 10 yuan are big red envelopes in the village. After Grandma he handed out the red envelopes, she took the others to work on dinner. After being squeezed by Grandma, Mr. Zhao's momentum immediately dropped. "It's over. Do you think you'll let me drink at night? It's as pitiable as you want." It also allowed the descendants to see a different grandfather, wife. The person who always talks about everything at home is actually afraid of an old lady here. However, the old lady is indeed a bit fierce. After several old men looked at each other, they all saw smiles in each other's eyes. That's right. After scolding, he gave them the red envelopes he had prepared, and then walked out of the main room. Only Mr. Zhao kept a straight face, looking at his children and grandchildren and saying, "It's all your fault." In the end, the blame was put on them. Zhao Kaij and others were speechless. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 254. Chapter 254, Cannot be made public. When did Grandpa become such a scoundrel? The two brothers looked at each other, and then wanted to step forward and help the old man up. "It's a pity that some people are so ungrateful. Go away, I'm not old enough to move." After saying that, he ran out quickly, not even leaving the pretentious crutch in his hand. Seeing their grandfather like this, the two brothers were dumbfounded. Fortunately, Aunt Jian has a lot of experience. "Okay, let's go out and play. Mom will introduce it to you. You don't have to hold it here, just be natural." Aunt Jian said this to her eldest son. If she told him how good this place is, he would not believe how good a rural area can be. When it came to Qianziang, he stopped after hearing what he said. "Mom, just take my eldest brother, and I'll take Hua Kong Kong and the others to play." When he first arrived, En Liang asked him if he wanted to go bird hunting. Such a fun thing would definitely not be without him. How could Aunt Jian not know the son's temperament? "You, look at Hua and the others. If they fall, see if I pull out your skin." After all, he is his grandson, and Aunt Jian loves him very much. "What are you afraid of? They are already so big, so what does it matter if they fall twice?" Qianziang looked unconcerned. Zhao Kaij agreed very much. Boys should be beaten and beaten like this, and Tang Tang should be pampered in his mother's arms. Okay, let's go." Aunt Jian took Zhao Kaij to introduce the He family. These people were curious when they saw him, and stopped surrounding him after they got to know him. This made Zhao Kaij a little surprised, but after seeing his eyes, he felt a little guilty. "Okay, don't do that. The people here are not as crazy as you think. They are all very simple. If she hadn't been dealing with them all the time, she wouldn't have believed it." You can tell at a glance that they all have extraordinary status in this profession, but none of them come forward to flatter you. As long as you show off your face even a little bit, these people will look down on you. In this way, under the leadership of Aunt Jian and Boss Zhao, the group of them soon became integrated with the people in the village. Shi Weikan was also taken away by Jian Xiang. Grandma He and the others were preparing dinner in the kitchen, and Grandma Mu and Aunt Jian were asked to watch there for a while. If they finished eating or drank all the water, they would have to ask them to refill it. There are many people coming, so of course there are also many rituals. Meixia just didn't expect that Boss Zhao and his family would have to stay here for 2 days. There was no way, there was really no place to sleep at home, so Grandma He had no choice but to place them at He Jingting's house. Only his house has more empty rooms. He Jingting's family is now headed by Anshan. He glanced at Anshan and saw Anshan nodded, so he agreed. These small actions were noticed by everyone, and no one asked any questions. Having a place to go makes you feel relieved. Shi Weikan slept directly with Mr. Shi, just squeezed in. Originally, I wanted to ask my sister-in-law when she was in the 3rd grade of junior high school to see if she wanted to do carpentry. Unexpectedly, so many people came to the house at once, so Li Shuang didn't open her mouth. Not only did she not open her mouth, but Lixia also didn't open her mouth. She didn't open her mouth either, but she wasn't in a hurry. They still had to live in the village for a while. Li Shuang won't go to town until the 15th day of the lunar month, and Lixia won't go to town until at least the 8th day of the lunar month. There is an old saying from the old man that you never go out 7 times and never come home 8 times. So they won't leave on the 7th day of the lunar month, but will only leave on the 8th day of the lunar month. It happens to be the 9th day of the Lunar New Year when I have to go to work or open a shop. Boss Zhao and the others spent 2 magical days in the village. If they hadn't been busy with other things outside, they would have wanted to retire in advance. But Mr. Zhao also told his children and grandchildren about the pills. They had seen the old man's transformation, and they were all surprised. Especially Yu Zhaokai, as soon as he heard this, he thought of the soldiers under his command. If it were so effective, he would use these pills on the soldiers. Zhao Kai's eyes shone, and Boss Zhao and Mr. Zhao, who knew him well, immediately covered his mouth. Do you think it's possible? First of all, not the money, but the medicinal materials. Were those soldiers able to get them? Mr. Zhao shook his head and smiled bitterly. He is also a man who came out of the army. How can he not think about his own army? But so what? If that thing was so easy to obtain, would these old men still come here? Yes, this matter must not be leaked to others, otherwise Xiaoxiu's family will be in trouble. He didn't want these troubles to be caused by his family. Zhao Kaij wanted to fight for it, but after hearing the medicinal materials, he also shut up. Okay, here are 10. You and Xiang each have 5. After eating, bring the money to buy them. Old man, I only have this little money, and I have none now. Mr. Zhao felt heartbroken. He was not the only one who had this idea, there were several others, but his family didn't come, and they couldn't send the good things. Shi Weikan finally took advantage, but he didn't believe it, but he had to believe it. The old man's body was placed in front of him, and he had to believe it. Grandpa, I'm afraid I can't take this thing out. Shi Weikan is not young at all, and he understands many things very well. Well, I can't take it out, but it's good for my own family. He couldn't bear to give this good thing away. I'll give some to my parents when I go back. They happen to be young and can give me a younger sister, Shi Weikan said with a smile. This is a good idea. If I really give birth to a daughter, I will become in-laws with sister. Mr. Shi laughed after thinking about it. I think this idea is very good. Shi Weikan was speechless. His sister was still remembered by his grandfather before she was even seen. Okay, here are 10 pills. You can eat them too. Also, If you get up early in the morning, you can practice with Xiao and the others. He is a martial artist, usually a quiet person, but he sees what Xiao and the others are practicing. I'm afraid that the ancestors of the Mei family are also a great family. Oh, there's this other thing, Shi Weikan looked surprised. What can Grandpa see? If you have the ability to learn the secrets that were first taught to you, if you don't have the ability, there is no harm in learning a little bit. Hearing this, Shi Weikan really remembered it in his heart. Watch in your mind how much you can learn. If you can become a disciple. Forget it, his status is really not suitable for apprenticeship outside. Even if he is apprentice, it cannot be disclosed to the outside world. Mei Shui didn't know that the ancestors and grandsons of the Shi family were beginning to care about her family's martial arts. But even if she knew, she wouldn't take it seriously. She doesn't understand anything except the inner law. Hians is not at home, so he can't teach him if he wants to. The most he can do is teach him a body-protecting skill. Before leaving, Lixia found an opportunity to tell Mei Shui her thoughts. After hearing this, Mei Shui looked at Lixia seriously, but she didn't expect that she still had such thoughts. But her idea was pretty good, but setting up a factory here was not that simple. Of course, she didn't understand it very well either. Perhaps out of sympathy, Mei Shui said that she could provide her with the drawings. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 255. Chapter 255, Drinking Wedding Wine. Please recommend votes, monthly votes. Of course, Lixia would not refuse and agreed immediately. She also said that if it came true, she would give Mei Shui money to buy the blueprints. Meixue didn't take it to heart. She didn't learn this stuff. All she knew was the books she had read in later years. Also let Mei Shui know a truth, there really is a golden house in the book. After sending Lixia away, An Wen also told Mei Shui about his sister and brother-in-law living in the village before leaving. Meixue was speechless. She was not the village chief, so what was the use of telling her? But after listening to what he said, Mei Shui understood. Okay, if your brother-in-law is good at craftsmanship, I will let him be the leader when the time comes anyway. I would look for someone else, and I would also look for brother-in-law An Wen. Mei Shui agreed so readily because the performance of Hung Mei's family this year made Grandma very happy, and she was relieved. After thanking him, An Wen and Anshan left the village, while Li Shuang and others stayed in the village until the 15th day. An Wen also plans to host a birthday party for his precious daughter, so there is no need to leave the village. Li Shuang was of course happy. He stayed and came to Mei Shui to play every day. The three children had a lot of fun playing around. It's just that Xiao Cheng is a bit naughty and likes to hit people, so he always has to go to Xiao Yi, but Grandma He's baby is a baby, so there's no reason to lose it. After the Zhao family left, Mei Shui's family also became quiet, but Uncle Zhao and the others said they would come to stay for a while in the winter. Because there are hot springs here, which is very comfortable. Now he envies the old men. Zhao Kaij had actually been thinking about those pills, but he knew they were not easy to get, but he always liked to pretend to be pitiful in front of Mei Shui. If he hadn't known that he was a descendant of the Zhao family, Hians would have thought he was a gangster. Finally sending the person away, Hian secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He really couldn't deal with such a shameless person. He who cannot be beaten or scolded is troubled. The house suddenly became deserted, and the old men were a little unaccustomed to it. Fortunately, they slowly received things sent from home and calmed down their emotions. Hians is finally living a comfortable life at home, taking care of his children during the day and holding his wife at night. This is a real blessing in life. After the 10th day of the first lunar month, Li Fei came to the door. Not only him, but also Xiang Yang. Xiang Yang's side is much simpler, just come over and tell him that he is getting engaged. Li Fei wants to ask Grandma He to be a matchmaker to help him propose marriage to He Rongrong's family. But he was rejected by Grandma He. You can pull her down, I won't go. I'm an unfortunate person. Find someone else. Grandma He rolled her eyes and made a perfect excuse. If he didn't know what she was thinking, Mei Shui would have wanted to go up and comfort her grandma. Grandma He, you are the happiest person in the village, please help me. In Li Fei's heart, he really couldn't find a better candidate than Grandma He. No, everything is easy to discuss. Don't ask me about being a matchmaker. Let's do this. If your family doesn't have a suitable candidate, ask Ens to take you to find his Grandma Jinghua and Grandma Meng. They are two people from the village. The famous Quanfu old man. Having sons and daughters and a house full of children and grandchildren cannot be more blessed than this. Mei Shui pushed He-Ans understood. Li Fei, don't force my grandma, please take you to find Grandma Meng and the others. We always go to them when there are happy events in our village. Even if Grandma doesn't want to go, he won't force her. Li Fei's face was filled with regret. Grandma He, are you really not going? I won't go. The answer was very firm. Seeing that Li Fei had finished talking, Xiang Yang directly intervened. Grandma, I'm not here to ask you to be a matchmaker. Come on, smile, I'm here to tell you the good news. Xiang Yang's virtue, but Grandma He likes it. Okay, since it's a big happy event, then I will definitely go. It's just a good time to take the children out for a walk. When? Grandma He asked with a smile. Xiang Yang and Li Fei were completely different from each other, and Li Fei felt aggrieved. Engaged on the 18th day of the first lunar month and married on the 28th day of the first lunar month, Xiang Yang felt a little embarrassed. The time went by quite quickly, but it was just an agreement between the two of them. Xiang Yang was already quite old, so he would get married as soon as possible. Oh, double happiness. Okay, I'll take Xiaoxiu there with the children then. Grandma He agreed wholeheartedly. Li Fei was not happy here. Then you, Grandma He, will go when I get engaged. Seeing that he was as jealous as a child, Grandma He also gave him a big smile and said, it's not easy here. The Zhengsong family and our family are descended from the same ancestors. I will definitely go there when the time comes. The meaning is obvious. She went to He Zhensong's house, that is, the woman's family. Li Fei wanted to say something else, but He-An stopped him. His grandma had always been resentful towards his sister. He didn't tell Xiaoxiu those things, but he told his grandma. Okay, Xiaofei, go away, I'll take you to find someone. Take the person away first and then talk. Xiang Yang and Li Fei both had lunch at home before leaving. Li Fei also invited Grandma Jinghua and Grandma Meng to act as matchmakers for him. Li Fei acted quickly here. After returning, he chose to propose marriage to He Zhensong's family in Shishalai. After the proposal, he got engaged, so his engagement was still ahead of Xiang Yang. On the 16th day of the first lunar month. This first month is truly a day of great joy. And Wen just had a meal with his family and no wine. Not even Mei Shui or the others were invited. But Mei Shui remembered Xiao Ai's birthday and prepared gifts for her. Not only her, but An Liang and others also prepared gifts, but they didn't go to dinner. On the 14th day, the Li family came to the house with the betrothal gift. Because it was Grandma Jinghua and others who proposed the marriage, the process was very fast. After receiving the gifts, a date was set and everyone had a meal at home. Li Fei is not short of money now, and has earned enough to give He wrong face. It makes many families with daughters in the village envious. He and Mei is one of them. However, she also completed the blind date, and the engagement date was also chosen, in February. But compared with others, she wanted to break off the engagement. It's a pity that she can't help it. He Rongrong got engaged in the 16th year, and many people in the village went over to have a wedding banquet. Only Grandma He went in Mei Shui's house. She didn't go. There were so many people in the family, and she couldn't leave without it, so she didn't need to go. Hans has arrived, but he went as the man's guest. There is no need for him to go so early when the convoy is not yet busy. He lives a happy life at home with his children and wife every day, and is very happy. After drinking this meal until very late, Mei Shui took the children to bed, and Hans didn't come back until later. Hurry up and wash yourself off. You smell all over your body. Mei Shui felt disgusted. She also drinks alcohol, but even if it smells like her own, she can't smell it, and she despises other people's drinks. Okay, I'll go right away. It's cold, so don't get up. It's the end of the month. Dear friends who have monthly votes, please vote. Thank you. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 256. Chapter 256, The Old Men O' Wine. It snows every year, and it snows heavily every year, especially now that it is melting and it is even colder. I'm not stupid. Mei Shui had no intention of getting up. Hans looked helpless and quickly went downstairs to wash himself off before returning to the house. It was really cold. He didn't plan to do anything bad tonight. It's not that he didn't want to, but it was too much last night. His wife was angry. If he dared to do anything tonight, she would definitely dare to kill him. Go to bed, it's getting late. Have a good night's sleep. On the 18th day of the first lunar month, Grandma he left the family affairs to 11 Lian and Mei Lian, and then took the children to the county town. The house that Hans bought previously finally welcomed its mistresses again. Grandma he is very satisfied with her family, the environment here is good, and Xiao is old. Let him come to the county to go to school in a few years. The education in the village still cannot keep up. Old man Wu told her about this, saying that Xiao was smart, so don't waste it. Why does Grandma want Xiao to come to the county to go to school? Mei Shui was a little confused. Before the Chinese New Year, your Grandpa Wu took Xiao's exam. He said it was a pity that Xiao went to school in the village. Our family is not short of money, so we can't wrong the children. I didn't bring Xiao today because Xiao has started school. Well, let him come to school in the county town in the second half of the year. Ans happens to be here. Mei Suidao knew the identity of Mr. Wu and had taught and educated people all his life. His vision was unmistakable. That's good. I'll go to your Uncle Zhao's house tomorrow. I'll ask your Aunt Jian to keep an eye on Xiao here alone. There is no woman in the house, and the child's life is not easy. Looking at the worried look on Grandma's face, Mei Shui knew that the old lady was reluctant to part with her. Okay, let's go together tomorrow. Because they arrived at noon and went directly to Xianjiang's house in the afternoon, they took a rest at home and then went to Xianjiang's house. Today, if you are 18, you will marry the man, and if you are 19, the woman will bring you gifts. The woman is also here with the man today, and nothing much happened, just a few relatives and friends at home. Because of the affairs of Xianjiang's family, Grandma he and Mei Shui planned to wait here for him to get married before going back. The family was a little worried, but she left the fish pond and back mountain affairs to Anyang, so she was not afraid that he would not do well. I am just worried about Xiao and a group of old men at home. It's a pity that the old men don't have to worry about them. They are not at home, and the monkey is the king. Hurry up, I can finally relax for half a month. Let that boy Anshan bring the wine. Mr. Shi is the most naughty man. No, that boy will leave tomorrow. Mr. Hua also looked forward to it. Sure, I'll go right away. Mr. Sun took Mr. Wu and went to find Anshan. Anshan came to take his mother to the hospital. After a year of recovery, Aunt Jingting's back injury was healed. Of course, the more important thing is to get Mr. Mu's diagnosis and treatment, otherwise I'm afraid I won't be able to work. Mr. Mu just smiled and watched them wandering around, since he was not the one taking the lead. Grandma Mu is not even interested in them, and he is not her man. In this way, when Grandma He and Mei Shui were not at home, the gentlemen were drunk and dreaming every day. Shi Weikan wanted to take charge of it, but could he handle it? Even my grandfather can't control him, let alone several others. Of course Mr. Zhang also joined in, but he was under the control of He Anyang. Except for a little drink at noon every day, he was not allowed to go up the mountain at other times. He was hit and scolded, but He Anyang was a die-hard man who refused to give in. The current He Anyang's strength is not something that Mr. Zhang can compete with. He Zhenbei pretended not to see it, and sometimes even took his wife to leave early. The angry old man jumped on his feet. Xiao is under the control of Grandma Mu. She is fed and clothed every day. Except for playing time, she spends all her time reading. These books were sent to him by Mr. Wu. Xiao is also sensible. He knows his own things, so he studies more attentively. He is only in the first grade of primary school now, but he can do the test papers of the third grade of primary school. These things are seen by everyone. His wife and children have all come to the county town. Hians has hot meals and dishes every day when he goes out and comes home. This is a good life. Xiao Lai sometimes envied him. His wife was busy with the business in the store every day, and it was good that she could take care of her children. She couldn't take care of him. No, he brought his children to his house for dinner again. Grandma He, Xiaoxiu, we are here again. Xiao Lai is also a thick-skinned person and does not feel embarrassed at all. What are you doing here? Xiao He can just send it over, Grandma, he said. When she came to the county town, there was no one to argue with her. Fortunately, there was Xiao Lai, otherwise it would have been too boring, so it was better to go to the village. Xiao He is still young and he can't find his way, so why don't I send him here? Xiao Lai was also used to quarreling with Grandma He. Heh, it's okay. I'll just ask Ans to pick him up next time. Xiao Lai's son is 5 years old this year and is a very cute little guy. Looking has inherited all the advantages of his parents. Xiao He, come here quickly, it's cold outside. Come to Auntie Mei Shui was playing with Xiaopeng and others in the hall, and came over when she heard the sound. Aunt Shui Xiao He ran over immediately when she saw the person and shouted happily. It's cold, come here and warm yourself up. Mei Shui took Xiao Hai's hand and walked directly in, without paying any attention to the two people in the courtyard. Xiao Lai is used to it. Really, he is used to it. Brother, when the two little guys saw the person coming, they immediately rushed towards Xiao He happily. Slow down, don't look at how heavy you are. Your brother Xiao He can't stand your strength. Since these two little guys took Mei Shui's medicinal bath, their bodies have become stronger and stronger, and their strength is comparable to that of 5 or 6 years old children. Not fat, not fat. The intelligence of the two little guys has also been effectively improved. Of course, this credit belongs to Xiao Bai, because it contributes a medicinal plant that is effective in intellectual development. Mei Shui doesn't know what it is specifically, and Xiao Bai refuses to tell her even if he kills him. Not fat yet. Look, he's heavier than brother Xiao He. Mei Shui looked disgusted. The two little guys were not easy to mess with. When they saw that their mother disliked them, they immediately abandoned her. Brother Xiao He, let's ignore mom. Mom is a bad guy, Xiao Cheng said angrily. Xiao Hai is used to hearing this. Really, he is used to it. Aunt Shui is not bad, Aunt Shui is a good person. Xiao Hai is a serious little guy. He thought Xiao Chen was telling the truth. Mei Shui was very happy with these 3 little guys. Supper will be ready soon. After settling the 3 children, everyone starts to move. Since she will live here for a long time, Mei Shui added some space water to the well. The taste of the cooked meals is not too different. On the 28th, the day of Xiang Yang's wedding, Hians went to help Xiang's family yesterday and didn't come back at night. A new week has begun, The author please vote. Asking for recommendation votes, monthly votes, subscriptions, and rewards. Tell me about the extra update. Now, for every 1000 recommendation votes, an additional chapter will be added. For every 100 monthly votes, an additional chapter will be added, and for a reward of 10,000, an additional chapter will be added. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 257. Chapter 257, Digging a Base. Miguel and Grandma he went there once, so they were able to find the place. The two of them walked to Xianjiang's house with Luo Meili holding their children. Fortunately, Xianjiang's home is not far from theirs. He Jiao didn't go because her child was still young, but Fang Kai left yesterday. Along the way, Xiaohe pulled Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng, and the tall body of a big brother helped them block a bit of cool wind. Seeing Xiaohai like that, the three adults all laughed. After Xiangyang got married, Mei Shui and Grandma he were sent back to the village by He-Ans. It's not that he wants to send her off, but his grandmother and daughter-in-law want to go back, and no matter how hard he tries to persuade them to stay, he can't change their minds. Even sons are thinking about their elder brothers at home. The new year was just like this. After Mei Shui returned to the village with her grandmother and children, she began to live a very daily life. The most busy thing for her now is to make arrangements for buying furniture, and she should also buy a bed. Miguel now has a personal savings of 100,000 yuan. She is not afraid of spending money, but is afraid of delaying her affairs. She doesn't plan to raise more fish in the fish pond. It's good now. He Anyong doesn't have to go to the fish pond every day to keep an eye on it. Mei Shui bought lotus flowers after the spring started. They are the kind that can be eaten and looked at. Lotus. Of course Mr. Hua helped to get this done. This thing is not easy to find. At least Mei Shui couldn't get it herself. The work of the fish pond was handed over to He Anwei. The boy followed his brother and learned every day, and he was able to take advantage of small things. Don't say anything, Mei Shui fell in love with him. Hand over the fish pond to him, He Anyong began to run some outside errands for her. For example, the troublesome work of hiring a carpenter and so on. Of course, Hung Mei's man was also captured by Mei Shui as a young man. In March, everything was arranged in the house in the back mountain, and the old men started to move happily. The people in the village also started to get busy, planting vegetables and fields, so the people who could be invited came over after work, and it took several days just to move. Old gentleman, when you live in Hushan, you will have to hire someone to do the cooking. My family can't go there now. She built the house in Hushan for her old age, at least she won't be able to go there now. For this matter, the old men have already found a good counterpart, and that is He Anyong's mother. Aunt Yang cried when she received this job. Nothing can see people's hearts more clearly than when they lose power. She not only saw clearly her relatives, but also the people who were close to her in daily life. In the first year, there were still very few people going to the hot springs to try it out, but neither Mei Shui nor Grandma he cared. It would be great if no one in the village went. After the old men were arranged, Aunt Yang also started to work, and Mei Shui's house suddenly became quiet. Such a life made her and her grandma feel uncomfortable for a while, but Grandma could still go to the back mountain for a walk every day. Miguel didn't have much time recently, so she sent her grandma and children to the back mountain. Why is there no time? She wants to start organizing her planned estate. The furniture was handed over and the payment was calculated on a piece-by-piece basis. This was Grandma's idea. If the payment was calculated on a daily basis, Grandma was afraid that someone would take advantage of the situation. She trusts grandma on this matter. Here in the fish pond, lotus flowers were planted, and the plum snow had to let them grow. There are also many things in the old house, which are just trivial. There is also Lixia, she also has to draw the picture. This is a delicate job and requires the use of brain. With the money in hand, he did. Grandma Mew, I'm here, the sun is getting strong, you should go back to the house first. Mei Shui has her own plan and keeps an eye on it every day. The people invited were all from the village. Now that the busy farming time was here, not many people were invited, so she herself joined in. Xiaoxiu, please stop doing this and come back in the afternoon. Grandma Mew felt a little sorry for Xiaoxiu, who was so busy and sweating profusely. No, I'm strong and can go faster. Mei Shui didn't want to. Grandma Mew, just leave quickly. If you feel bored, go to the back mountain. The roads over there are almost built. If possible, she would like her grandma and the others to stay in the back mountain at night, and then come back when the work at the front is finished. I won't go to the back mountain. I'll go cook for you. You need to eat well at noon. Seeing that Grandma Mew didn't want to go, Mei Shui didn't force her to go. Thank you, Grandma Mew. The people who came to work were not only from the fifth group, but also some from poorer families in the village. These people were introduced by the village chief, and fortunately they are all very honest. Mei Shui's salary is also quite high, calculated on a daily basis, 5 yuan a day. This salary is higher than working in the city. Some people whose families have little land want to stay and work for a long time. Mai Xiu also thought that she must have a lot of things to do in the past few years, so she paid attention to them one by one. Uncle Chen, there are rocks here, please be careful. The deeper we dug into the back mountain, the more and more rocks appeared. A man who looked to be in his 40s smiled naively and said, "It's okay, these rocks are dead and can be dug out." "Then you'd better be careful, it'll be bad if it hits you." Mei Shui was a little worried. This is a place where houses are being repaired, so it's best not to get into trouble. "Okay, let's all be careful," Uncle Chen responded with a smile. It probably took 5 or 6 days. The base was widened a lot. It wasn't until Mei Shui called for a halt that all the workers stopped. The available time was too short, and they still wanted to make money. It might be the last day of work, so Mei Shui asked Aunt Zillian and Sister Hong to help the family cook a dinner for these workers. There is enough food and wine. "Xiaoxiu, do you plan to hire people here in the future?" In total, this group of more than a dozen people worked together for less than a month. Mei Shui put down the bowls and chopsticks in her hands and looked at Uncle Chen in front of her. Of course, even if she wants to keep people, she can't keep all these dozen people. Mr. Zhang will have to make the final decision on the future repairs of the house. "Uncle Chen, we definitely need to hire people, but we have to build a house here later. Even if we need to hire some masons and carpenters, do you know how to do these?" Uncle Chen is the person Mei Shui plans to hire for a long time in the future. Uncle Chen is from the second team, which is really far away from them. "If you invite me, I'm afraid that Uncle Chen will live here in the future." This is also the reason why Mei Shui has been undecided. Everyone is good at masonry, but carpentry is a craft, and not many people know it. After hearing Mei Shui's words, Uncle Chen sighed. "It's okay. If anyone knows how to make bricks, he can stay. But he has to wait a few days, and you guys are also resting at home." Mei Shui knew that Mr. Zhang would mainly invite people from the village. "Then thank you, Xiaoxiu. A new week has begun, the author please vote." Asking for recommendation votes, monthly votes, subscriptions, and rewards. Tell me about the extra update. Now, for every 1000 recommendation votes, an additional chapter will be added. For every 100 monthly votes, an additional chapter will be added, and for a reward of 10,000, an additional chapter will be added. From this week onwards, everyone is watching the counting of votes. When the count is up, remember to tell the author, "Thank you all," and also move the comment area. Can you check in? Haha, thank you dears. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 258. Chapter 258, Buy Clothes for Xiao. Some people who did not dare to ask out loud listened with open ears. After seeing that the host agreed, everyone was very happy. A month's work here is no less than what people in the city can earn. On the contrary, they can earn more than those in the city. After feeling at ease, everyone eats and drinks more energetically. Mei Shui is not a stingy person. Her meals mainly focus on meat and she is too lazy to go out to buy meat. Mei Shui took the two of them to Wild Boar Mountain and shot 2 adult wild boars. We are not afraid that they will eat meat, but we are afraid that they will not be able to finish it. As soon as the foundation work was completed, Mei Shui invited Mr. Zhang over and asked him to start calculating the materials for bricks and so on. Fortunately, Mr. Zhang had already prepared. Write down all the materials to be used and give them to Mei Shui, who directly handed the matter over to He Anyang. He Anyang is now working with Mei Shui, earning a monthly salary of 150 yuan. Even if he didn't work, Mei Shui would pay him a salary. This made Grandma He mutter for a long time, saying that she was wasting money. However, after seeing that He Anyang was busy every day and fearing that his feet would not touch the ground, Grandma He stopped saying anything more and would even cook a small stove for He Anyang from time to time. In April, some vegetables in the fields were ready to be picked, and Hians returned as scheduled. Hians felt very uncomfortable seeing the changes in his family. All these things were burdened on his wife. As a man, it was his fault. Xiaoxiu, if you are busy at home from now on, please call me. Didn't the village chief's family ring the phone? As soon as Hians came back, he found that his wife had lost weight again. Mei Shui glanced at He Anyang, and after seeing the emotion in his eyes, she smiled, okay. She knew what he was thinking, but she was not pretentious. She still liked the feeling of being cared for and cared for. But you are also busy over there, and you have people at home, so I am not tired. Mei Shui really didn't feel how tired she was, but felt quite fulfilled. If you're not tired, why have you lost weight again? A pair of hands directly touched Xiaoxiu's body. Look, there's no meat here, there used to be some meat on the belly, but now it's as flat as a board. And here, it's too small. The last 3 words, Hian said very resentfully, you have to make up for it and patch it up. Looking at the man who was playing rogue on her, Mei Shui frowned and said, 1. Before Mei Shui could count to 2, Hians directly suppressed the person and said, this is mine. You are not allowed to lose weight without my permission in the future. Having been away for a while, he missed her. The next day, Hians left the village with the vegetables and took away the list Mei Shui gave her, asking him to buy more cotton cloth in the county town. Hians is of course willing to help with this matter. Xiangyang and the others are going to Guangzhou in 2 days. He will bring everything back there. Xiangyang has changed every day since she got married. Li Fei has also set a wedding date in May. Because He Rongrong is not too old and the family is not in a hurry. If Li Fei hadn't been begging, their family would have planned to go there next year. But these had nothing to do with Mei Shui. After she explained everything, when Xiao was on vacation, she took Xiao to the town to buy him some clothes and so on. Xiao, let's go to your Aunt Lixia's shop, her shop has clothes for you. Mei Shui took Xiao out of the village on a bicycle. Mom, I still have clothes to wear. Didn't my wife make several for me last year? Xiao didn't care much about these things. What I care more about is that I can't watch Uncle and Wei and the others go to the mountains to play today. Didn't you notice those clothes? They are all short, Mei Shui said with a silent smile. Ah, really? It had just changed, and Xiao hadn't worn them yet, so he didn't even know that those clothes were too small. Hey, can Mom still lie to you? With this condition in her family, she didn't intend to wrong her family members. No, Mom won't lie to me, but Mom, let's buy less, because we won't be able to wear them next year anyway. He felt sorry for those clothes, but his wife made them for him stitch by stitch. Of course, there are some things that his mother asked Grandma Milian to make, but those were all made by her mother, and he really couldn't bear to part with them. Don't worry, even if Xiao came to such a farmhouse, his life would be no worse than at his original home. On the contrary, it was even better. The warm family affection made him unwilling to tell his secret at all. He also knew that his parents had doubted him, but they didn't ask too much. Mei Shui didn't have the heart to dwell on Xiao's affairs. Hians had doubted it and told his grandma Mei Shui, but after they looked indifferent, he stopped thinking about it so much. Okay, just buy 3 or 4 sets. You are getting more and more skinny now. You go to the mountains and rivers every day, and you don't have enough clothes to change. Mei Shui will not ask Xiao to be more obedient. How can I? Xiao refused to admit it. Heh, okay, we're here, let's go in. Mei Shui stopped the car and let Xiao get out after it stabilized. Xiao is quite short, and he often runs around, so jumping out of the car is a trivial matter for him. Aunt Lixia, Xiao ran directly into the children's clothing store without her mother's instructions. It's a pity that he didn't see his Aunt Lixia. Hello, Grandma, isn't Aunt Lixia here? As soon as he entered, he didn't see his Aunt Lixia, but it was the grandma from Aunt Lixia's house. Hey, Xiao is here. Come and sit down. Are you coming with your mother or your wife? When Lixia's mother-in-law saw the person coming, her grandson ignored her and immediately stood up and walked towards Xiao. Grandma, I came here with my mother, who parked the car outside. Xiao put away the liveliness he had when he first came in. Haha, Mom is here. Lixia's mother-in-law looked happy. At this time, Mei Shui also walked in. After seeing the people in the store, she smiled and said, Hello, Auntie, isn't Sister Lixia here? Your sister Lixia is busy now. How can she have time to take care of the store? Her little sister is looking after the store over there, the old lady explained to Mei Shui with a smile. Mei Shui understood that Sister Lixia might be busy with opening a factory. Now, her business is getting bigger and bigger. It has only been 2 years, and the changes are really big. No, thank you for your help. Come and sit down. Do you have anything to ask Lixia? The old lady asked kindly. Mei Shui shook her head. No, I just came here to buy some clothes for Xiao. Whatever you want to buy, Xiao, take a look and take what you like. Grandma gave it to you. The old lady liked Mei Shui's family very much. Xiao looked shy. After all, he was an elder, but he still couldn't let go, so he was pulled by Aunt Lixia's younger brother. Brother wears the same clothes as me. Wang Jun, who is almost 3 years old, followed Xiao with a look of anticipation. Xiao glanced at his brother's clothes with a look of disgust on his face. I don't want it, I don't want to dress like you. So cute, not suitable for him. Asking for votes. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 259. Chapter 259, I'm happy. Meixiu was also happy. Mom thinks my brother's clothes are very nice. She didn't know what Xiao was thinking. No, Mom, I don't want it. Xiao immediately became frightened. My brother is so cute, this dress suits him, but I can't. Mrs. Wang was happy and said, what's wrong with it? Xiao is also very cute. After saying this, she laughed. Aunt Wang, stop talking. Xiao may not even need any clothes in a while. Mei Shui couldn't help but laugh. There is no way. Who made Wang Jun wear a suit of Sun Wukong's clothes? It really shouldn't be too cute. Haha, okay, I won't say any more. Xiao, just make your own choice. Tell Grandma what you like, and Grandma will get you a bigger one. Aunt Wang stopped laughing, but she couldn't hold back the smile on her face. Xiao looked around the store and took a fancy to a few darker clothes. After choosing a few pieces, he looked at his mother. "Mom, I have chosen." Mei Shui looked at it and thought it was pretty good. "You can choose a few more pairs of pants. Everyone is busy recently and don't have time to make them for you." "Oh." After choosing a few more pairs of jeans, Xiao stopped. Mei Shui took a look and got him another set of imitation military uniforms, navy shirts, etc. "Aunt Wang, please do the math." That's all. Mei Shui was not interested in shopping. If Xiao hadn't really run out of clothes, she wouldn't have planned to come. How could Aunt Wang accept their money? "No matter what, just treat these as gifts from Auntie to Xiao, and I will get him a larger code." "How can that be done? There is no reason to not charge money for doing business. If you do this, then I won't dare to come here anymore like Grandma he." Mei Shui doesn't like to owe others favors. "You kid, why don't you dare to come? These are the opening gifts for Xiao from my aunt." Aunt Wang made up her mind not to accept the money. "No, Aunt Wang, I won't let you do this again." Mei Shui shook her head quickly. Finally unable to do anything, Aunt Wang took out the purchase list and said, "You can give it to yourself." Mai Xiu was speechless. "Aunt Wang, can you make money by doing this business? Can you buy the price without shipping?" "It's not just your money, but other people's money." Aunt Wang laughed. "Okay, I'll pack these for you." Just like that, adding up to a dozen items, Mei Shui gave 150 yuan. She also knew that if she gave more, Aunt Wang would not take it, so as to save trouble, it was reduced to a round number. Sure enough, when Aunt Wang saw the money Xiaoxia gave her, she accepted it directly. "I can't leave after eating at home today. No, my family has been very busy recently. I have picked some vegetables and still have to plant them. If Xiao hadn't run out of clothes today, I wouldn't have had time to come." Hearing Xiaoxia's words, Aunt Wang didn't stay too long. She also knew how busy Mei Shui was. Wang Jun was unhappy. "No, no, brother, play with me." Wang Jun was still too young and not old enough to go to school, so Aunt Wang had to take it by herself. "Brother can't play with Xiajun. He has to go to school the day after tomorrow." Mei Shui knelt down and gently held Xiajun in her arms. "If Xiajun feels bored, can you ask Grandma to take you to Grandma's house to play when you have time?" Mei Shui coaxed. "Aunt Mei Lian has no time now. There are so many chickens in the house to take care of, and she is very busy all day long. Coupled with the work in the fields, apart from mealtime, I really don't have time to take care of the children." Aunt Wang immediately answered the call. "Where are the in-laws free? Now it's time to cultivate the fields. There are not enough people in the family." Mei Shui still likes Aunt Wang for her in-laws who understand her so well. "No, we still raise so many chickens, and there are hundreds more chickens this year. Since earning money, An Liang has decided to buy 500 more chickens. Had it not been for the small space at home, he would still buy it. However, the family plans to build a chicken coop this year, which will satisfy An Liang's wishes." "That's right. Fortunately, Lixia and the others don't plan to have another baby now, otherwise there will be no one to take care of them at this point," Aunt Wang said happily. "It's okay, Sister Lixia is still young. It will be the same in a few years, and Xiajun will have grown up by then. No, it would be best to wait until Xiajun is 7 or 8 years old, but I don't know if they will be busy at that time. Who doesn't want a large family at home? I was afraid that it would be difficult to have children at that time." This year, there were new slogans in the village, which seemed to be called family planning. Mei Shui thought. "No, they are everywhere on the street now. Look." And Wang pointed to an empty wall not far away. "They are painted there too. If you have another child, you will be fined. I don't know what the superiors think." Mei Shui did not comment on this matter, but it would not be good to have so many children. Trouble. After chatting with Aunt Wang for a while, Mei Shui went to the supply and marketing cooperative again. Since she was here, She wanted to see if she could buy cotton. If so, she would buy some and take it back. Today I am riding a bicycle, and it is not practical to buy more. Xiao was very happy to buy so many new clothes, with a smile on his face. Mei Shui didn't see any cotton in the supply and marketing cooperative. It must have been sold out. After buying some new snacks for her family, Mei Shui took Xiao home. After arriving home, Mei Shui went straight to work and loaded all the bricks at home. This time she did not ask He-Ans and others to load them, but brought them back with a horse-drawn carriage. There are many workers at home who are busy, and Mei Shui joins them again. As soon as Xiao got home, he took the snacks in his hand and went to find his wife and brothers. Huishan, Grandma, he lives here with her children now. Fortunately, the children don't recognize anyone, otherwise it would be really troublesome. Madam, brother is back. Xiao saw the gate in front of the mountain and immediately shouted to the inside. After the hot springs were released, a lot of mist was brought to the entire back mountain plain. If you are far away, you won't be able to spot the house in the fog. The old men also heard Xiao's voice and stopped what they were doing one by one. It seems that Xiao has brought good things. Mr. Wu is the person who likes Xiao the most. Why didn't any of these old men recognize Xiao? Let's not mention that Xiao rarely appears in front of people because of his stepmother. Even if they saw him when he was a child, how can these people remember the appearance of a child now that he is so old? The Cheng family is now in constant trouble. Even Mr. Cheng himself is not thinking about his grandson, let alone others. But now Mr. Cheng also discovered that his grandson was missing and became angry with his son. But these have nothing to do with Xiao. He likes his current life very much. Even if he knew, he would not expose himself. Even if I bring good things, they are not for you, uncle. She is still so annoying. Oh, I'm happy Mr. Wu was not angry. Leave a comment in the comment area. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 260. Chapter 260, The Troubles of the Old Men. Of course, I still feel a little sad. Why can't Xiao, this kid, give him some face? Now. Of course, except Mr. Wu, he is not 60 to begin with, so he looks the youngest among them, and he often causes this group of people to fight against each other. Xiao ran in and saw a large group of people in the yard. After calling out one by one, he ran to his wife and brothers. Madam, this is for you, brother, these two are for you. Xiao took out the things in his hand and gave them to his wife and brothers. Grandma, he was not polite and took it, intending to show off to a few old men. The 5 angry old men all stared with wide eyes. Fortunately, Xiao was already prepared. Ladies, you have too. He took out a bag of candies from his clothes bag and gave them to them equally. Of course, the first one was given to Mr. Wu. Now Mr. Wu is happy. Haha, Xiao is so filial. The twins also liked the things their brother brought back. Brother, I don't know how to play with this. Xiao brought toys to the 2 children. A 9-link chain. Xiao doesn't know much about this, but it doesn't stop him from teaching his younger brothers. The 3 children went to find a place to play by themselves. The old men also folded the candies and put them in their mouths. Sweet. Grandma, he was speechless. No matter how sweet you are still my child. You have benefited from me. Sister, that's not what you said. Mr. Wu quit, once a teacher, always a father. I have been teaching Xiao for some time. He is filial to me not because of you. Grandma, he smiled, yes, as a father, please call Grandma to come and listen. As soon as these words came out, everyone started booing, just call me Grandpa. The most excessive one among them was Uncle Shi, who started to put on airs. Mr. Wu disliked him the most. After arriving here, he seemed to be a different person, very rogue. I think you're looking for a fight. Compared to the noise in the courtyard, a room not far from the outer courtyard is much quieter. The person living here is none other than Shi Weiken. He was reading a letter from his father. The letter reported that he was safe, but there were also many things going on. It seems we still have to find Grandpa. Shi Weiken had no choice about the matter. Another battle was fought at the front, with many casualties. It can be said to be a tragic victory. Those who were injured can no longer stay in the army, but if they want to go back to the countryside, there will be so many people and work cannot be arranged. If the injury is minor enough to be okay, you can put it to some front-line work. Those who were seriously injured. Shi Weiken had no choice but to take the letter and walk out of his room. Seeing Xiao, he stepped forward and touched his head, said a few words to him and then walked to the old man. Everyone knows that old man Shi has received the letter. Looking at Wei Chen's face, he is afraid. What happened to Xiao Chen? Except for Mr. Zhao, several old men were very worried. Shi Weiken nodded, but then shook his head. It's not about Kyoto. As soon as they heard this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. As long as there is no sudden change in Kyoto, it is not a big deal. Then you look so stinky, what big thing bothers you so much? Mr. Shi asked, understanding his grandson. Grandma, he is a discerning person. When she saw them talking, she stood up. You guys chat, I'll go help Xiao Ong's mother. After saying that, Grandma he took the three children away. Every old man is very pleased. It's not that they want to hide it, but it's not good to know too much about some things. Let's talk after the outsiders were gone, Uncle Shi said. Grandpa, the war on the front line is over. Oh, it's only been a year. It's over. It's a good thing and a happy event. Mr. Zhao stood up with excitement on his face. Among them, Mr. Shi and Mr. Zhao came from the military department. Several other people come from different fields. However, they are also very concerned about national affairs. Xiao Chen, is there anything wrong? Mr. Sun has been in politics all his life, and no one is better at reading people's hearts than him. Well, this was a tragic victory. Shi Weiken didn't give in. What a miserable victory. Everyone was in a very low mood. The word victory is preceded by miserable, which proves that the victory in this war resulted in heavy losses. What does your father mean? Uncle Shi asked directly. Dad, he wants to arrange the escape route for those soldiers, but it's difficult. Alas, this matter, none of the 5 old men could say that they would handle this matter themselves. I can help as much as I can, but we can't just leave it alone. In the end, Mr. Zhao was the first to stand up and say, we really want to take care of it, but what can we do? Mr. Hua felt very depressed. How can we help? We can't give money to every family. Mr. Sun looked helpless. It would be great if money can solve it, but can money solve it? Mr. Wu said with a bitter smile. If it's money, let's raise it and think of some ways, plus state subsidies. It can make a wounded soldier feel better for a while, but what about after a while? If you are in an emergency, you will be poor. Mr. Sun shook his head. So, what should we do about this matter? Shi Weiken felt a little uncomfortable. Those who are slightly injured are fine and can be assigned a job, but what about those who are seriously injured? What about those who are missing arms and legs? This matter has no solution. Okay, let's discuss this matter and come up with a solution. Also, contact people in Kyoto to see what the situation is like in Kyoto now. I have to trouble Lao Sun to write a letter and ask Xiao Chen to send it. Uncle Shi finally made a decision. Mr. Sun is not a cold-blooded person. Well, I'll write it right away. No matter how troublesome it is here, those people don't know it, and they are all making trouble for their future lives. Some people did not want to be a burden to their families, so they did not report the news to their families and planned to be self-reliant. There are still many people with ideas, and none of the old men have thought of these things. After Mei Shui replanted the vegetable seeds in the field, she asked He Jianbei to raise the seedlings in the field. It won't be long before we have to farm. This year, Mei Shui plans to put water in those fields, so that the rice will be more delicious. She didn't plan to sell it, and she didn't want to wrong herself if she ate it herself. The eels and loaches in the fields also need to be cleaned up. Because of the spatial water, all the eels and loaches in Mei Shui's field are very big. Remember to vote and comment. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 261. Chapter 261, Great Harvest. No, when Anliang and the others were on vacation again, Mei Shui led a group of people directly to the fields. Sister-in-law, can you pack it all with so many things? En Liang asked a little doubtfully. En Cheng looked at En Liang as if he were a fool. Have you forgotten the goods we caught in the fields before? En Wei has never participated before, but he has heard of people selling buckets of them and getting a lot of money back. Brother Anliang, sister-in-law, it doesn't matter if he doesn't believe it. Leave this matter to me. Yan Wei is getting better and better now. Mom still has me. I also believe in Mom. As a result, En Liang was isolated as a fool by everyone. That's enough for you. I didn't say I didn't believe it, but there are about a dozen buckets here. Do you think they can be filled? Each one is a big bucket, so it's strange that they can be filled. A barrel weighs at least dozens of kilograms. A dozen barrels weigh hundreds of kilograms. It's okay. If there are more, I will take them to the town and sell them, En Yang said confidently. Anyway, he just helps his sister-in-law run errands and buy and sell some things. Mei Shui had a headache from their quarrel. Okay, you will know after a while. A few days ago, Uncle Jianbei said that there were too many eels in the fields, and the ridges of the fields were all leaking. It's not good to have too many of these things. I didn't expect them to be considered pests. Soon we arrived at Meixiu's family's field. The land had been plowed and fertilized, just waiting for the rice seedlings to come. Okay, let's break it up. I'll take Xiao and En Cheng here on Liang, you take Xiao Ei and the others to the fields below. This field is the largest. Good sister-in-law. After the division was completed, everyone began to take action. Due to the water in the space, there are not only eels but also leeches here, all of which are very big. Xiao, be careful. There are locusts in the water. If you are sucked up, come up and wash it off in the stream. If you pull it out directly, the locust will be cut off, and then the other part will enter the body. Not good. I know, Mom, I will be careful. This is not the first time Xiao has gone to the fields, and he also knows a lot about leech. Sister-in-law is fine, Xiao can do the job, he won't be frightened and cry. And Cheng has also become worse now. Uncle Stinky, I'm not afraid. Watching the two bickering, Mei Shui was speechless and didn't bother to care about them. Okay, each of them has a bucket. If you catch them, put them in the bucket. This whole day was spent in the water. Mei Shui used space water to make a lot of nutrients, and she was not afraid that these goods would not come out. A dozen barrels finally slapped on Liang in the face. Not enough. En Liang was clearly arranged to go home to get the bucket, and then En Yang and others were called over to carry the load. When it was getting dark, Mei Shui stopped everyone and said, okay, come back tomorrow. All the fields have been passed over today, but some have not been caught, so we have to come back tomorrow. After returning home, Mei Shui came to the creek and put all these things here for someone to collect. I counted it and found that there were 17 barrels. He Anyang didn't need Mei Shui to tell him. He called the fish fry boss at noon and asked him if he wanted it. Hearing that it was from his own field, Yu Fiao sent someone over without saying a word. The price was pretty good, and Mei Shui agreed immediately after knowing it. No, there are many people around the creek. Xiaoxiu, why are there so many eels in your fields? This food is delicious, but it can also damage the fields, some old people in the village couldn't bear to say. I know, sir, we've caught them all. Mei Shui is a kind-hearted person, and she also has good intentions. Well, it's good if you understand. I'm afraid that all the people in the field will be caught. Some people looked at these barrels and laughed. No, there are still some fish that have slipped through the net, but I plan to catch them again tomorrow. Mei Shui smiled at everyone. Some people are thinking, Xiaoxiu, can we go over and grab some to eat at home? Looking at the big ones, they are excited. Okay, if you want to go, we won't go tomorrow. It's okay to eat this a few times, but I don't want to eat Mixu every day. There are so many things to eat now, and it is true that she likes to eat them, but if her taste can be changed, she would prefer to eat what she likes. Once Mei Shui agreed, everyone in the group was very excited. The person who received the goods also laughed and said, folks, if you have more, you can take it to the fish shop in town and sell it to us. He Anyong and the others don't look very good. If they eat it at home and it's acceptable, selling it would be too much. Mei Shui didn't take it to heart. How much could these things be sold for? Money. Since grandma lost interest in counting money, she also lost interest in making money. Just when He Anyong was about to say something, Mei Shui grabbed him and shook her head at him. Hand signaled him to be quiet. The people in Group 5 are not the kind to be greedy for money. They are close and have received a lot of benefits. I don't care much about selling eels. No need, let's catch some to eat ourselves. We can't catch all the seeds, the old man stood up and said at the beginning. It's also because he opened his mouth that people agreed. He can't go too far, right? Mixu laughed after hearing this. There isn't much left in the fields, and we can only sell a few kilograms. She told the truth. She just wanted to see what these people's choices were. After finally settling the money, Mei Shui took a group of people back home. Mei Shui asked An Liang to put a bucket at home and let everyone take a portion back to eat. He also took out the money and gave 10 yuan to each person as a token of appreciation. The happiest people are Xiao and An Wei. They are all very excited. For 10 yuan, you can buy a lot of food. Fortunately, there is no grocery store in the village, otherwise they would have spent all their money tomorrow. At night, Mei Shui gave the money to her grandma, and Mei Shui gave all the change to her grandma. How much did it cost today, Grandma? His lips twitched. Our family won't cause any trouble, right? Why are there so many in the field? I have to believe it. Mixu was speechless. Grandma, you think too much, and you don't look at how much fat is grown in the fields every year. It would be strange if you don't. Mei Shui rolled her eyes. Besides, there are no ghosts and gods in the world. If it really happened, would people still have such suffering? That's right. Okay, go to bed quickly, you won't be tired after a long day of work. Grandma. He took the child and walked to her room. The two children are not clamoring for their mother, but when Hians is not at home, the two children sleep with Mei Shui most of the time. You guys have to be good. Remember to call your wife if you need to urinate at night. Mei Shui also helped send them to the room. Well, we know Mom Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng are really well behaved. On weekdays, they don't make any noise or fuss when their mother is busy. The most they do is check to see if their mother is there. A few glances a day is enough. So good. After all, they are her biological children, and she still has deep feelings for them. Don't forget to vote. End of this chapter.